Okay, we are live. Thank you all for coming. My name is Zac Shipley. I am a agent out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I appreciate everyone tuning in, both from home or in your offices or watching the recording after the fact. I try to come up with a clever idea for the for a presentation here. Something I do very often, and I'm just calling it the art of the hang because it's all about uh, client events. I think in our description initially is like quarterly events, but really there's no limit. You can do one every month. You can do one, twice a year. It's whatever you have the bandwidth to do. The important thing is like all the stuff you do around it, because it's easy to say, "Oh, I'll have a gala," and even planning it is like not that difficult, but it's all the stuff you do around it that turns into it. Because I am very guilty of just throwing a party or throwing an event and not maximizing everything I can do around it. Um, so again, just to start with who I am, I'm a actor, comedian, DJ, journalist, video gamer, inventor, talk show host, and dad in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I also happen to lead the number one group in my market center in 2026 year to date. I don't think we're going to hold that title for very long, just simply because I got a nice size group, but it's really only 3 full-time producing agents. So there's another team of like 6 that they're going to pass us. It's going to happen. It's okay though. But for the first 2 months of the year, boom, we did it. I'll have to see where we landed in April, March. So why do we do events? Events are the backbone of database conversion. You don't need more ad spend. You just need a repeatable relationship first system. So if you only call people when you want a referral, you're just a telemarketer with a nicer headshot. Events give you a reason to call that doesn't suck, because I hate calling people and say, who do you know wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I mean, gosh, I put up an Instagram reel yesterday that was basically that question. It's the first time I've ever done it, and said, like, I'm asking you guys, who could you send a referral to? And there's a lot of people who, especially if you didn't come from a sales background, because almost none of us, this is our first job. Like most of us, this is our second or third career. We came from somewhere else. We decided to be entrepreneurial. We're in real estate, and so we're here to be something better than what we were before. But some people came from sales, and some people came from teaching or customer service or something else. And I get it. There's a lot of people who don't like to call, and especially cold call or ask for business directly. It feels grody. And even though I've been in sales for a long time, I don't like doing it either, because quite frankly, I worked in call centers a lot too, and it's not fun. That said, the skills do still translate. So you're going to spend money no matter what. I wish I could give credit to whoever said this to me. This is back in 2018, right after I joined KW. Someone said they were spending $2,000 or something ridiculous on Zillow per month, and they were getting return off of it, but it was a lot of chasing down people, and a lot of going to just appointments, and not everything was converting. And he just decided to stop spending that much money on Zillow leads and put it into just doing client events and calling his database and everything else. And he realized he could spend about half as much and still earn, a lot. In our case, because my group has been doing this for several years, and this is a major part of our business. We did the math for 2025, and for every dollar we spent on client events, we made 15. And 15 times over is a conversion, a multiplier, whatever anybody would take. Ask anybody in the stock market to make 15 times what they spent, and they'll look at you crazy. You're not going to get a house flipper who's going to make 15 times what they spent, and yet that's what I'm making, is 15 times what we spent. But we have to be clever with our dollar. So, and I put all these photos in here. Maybe I should explain some of them as I go through. So this is a Halloween event we did a few years ago, and I had a skeleton I bought from Target. One of those plastic skeletons. Give him a mustache, put him in a KW shirt. It's Scary Gary Cowell. I thought was funny. Um, and I dressed him like a Ghostbuster and I busted him. So it's funny. So identify what you love to do and make it central to your business. Don't hold a wine tasting if you only drink coffee. And when I say find your avatar, oh, go ahead.
No, we were all laughing.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was a cool question. So identify who your raving fans are, and also who do you want to have as fans? Are they young people? Are they families, sports fans, music lovers, outdoor activities, food? Like, what do your people like and love to do? And you got to find an event that speaks to your base, or find an event that brings out the people you do want to work with. So again, like I'll point out this skeleton. We do a trunk or treat event at my market center every year. I don't know exactly what the layout is in your area, but in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Milwaukee city itself is a nice dense city, and so there's a lot of trick or treating from block to block. But in Halloween, if you go into Waukesha County, a little bit west of Milwaukee, which is where my market center is actually located, the lots are a little bit bigger. You got a lot of subdivisions, etc., and there's a lot less of the door-to-door trick-or-treating. And so we do a trunk or treat event where all the agents just kind of park their cars, open up their trunks, they decorate their trunks, and kids can go trick-or-treating from car to car. We've done that for 3 years now. And of course, there's only a few people came the first year, and more people came the second year, even more people came the third year. And now it's a staple of our calendar. And it's nice because I don't necessarily have to do all the work around it. I'm sharing the load with several other agents around it. And since the market center leadership has really bought into this idea, we also get some sponsors from like lenders and other things to give us money for candy, and they do their decorations. They write dresses up too. So that's a great example of a way in which I not just attract families that are in my database, but also potentially attract families that are outside of my database, or people who are not my clients yet. Because I'll send that invitation to everybody. It goes out to everybody. Because it doesn't matter to me. My best case scenario is that I have to run to the grocery store and buy more candy. I would love that if we actually ran out in that first hour. Because it means we're being a real success, and we're also kind of allowing the market center to be a pillar of the community at the same time.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Go ahead.
When you're doing an event like that, I'm all about it. And, my only concern, and I love all you other agents too, but I don't want to hold an event with my office and then, we get a potential buyer or whatever, and we're fighting over the person.
Thus far, it hasn't happened. So I think you have to kind of go in with the mindset. This is a lot of people we're sending the information to are people already in our database.
Yeah.
And of course you can if someone from the neighborhood comes over and gets candy, that's fine too. But I think the thing I've noticed about most of these events is that even though we may attract a lot of people to them, there's rarely an actual sales opportunity happening at the event itself. All of it happens either before or after.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
So this is one of the ways in which I kind of divide up the kinds of events that are out there. So you've got things like gatherings, movies, live shows. So I do the movie rental thing at least once a year. You probably have a movie theater chain or an independent theater somewhere in your area that would be happy to set up a screening for you of either a new or classic movie. And so it's a matter of calling that office and getting the contact information for the person there. The great thing about the movie theater thing is that for the most part they handle almost everything, at least for us. So I don't have to worry about the projectionist because they have it. I don't have to worry about who opens the door or cleans up afterwards. That's part of their thing. So all I have to do is send the invites out and then get people to show up, check them in, etc. With a live show, sometimes those can be a little different. Again, kind of depends on your audience, because I am connected to the comedy scene in Milwaukee, and there's another person who's on my team who's also like an improv comedy actor. We do an event at this club called Comedy Sports every year, where we actually perform, and our clients get to see their agent acting like a screwball. It's all ages, family friendly comedy. Think like Whose Line Is It Anyway, if you've ever seen that show. So they get to see us in a very different light because of that. So it can also be a showcase for you. Crafting or other activities. I have a client who had a bakery who did like cookie classes. And so like we would book cookie classes for small groups, maybe like, the 6 to 10 people, and be very purposeful about who we invited to those. Because if you're doing smaller things, then you might think a little harder about who would actually come to this, who would be interested in it. A happy hour can be something that's also pretty easy to do if you have a good bar, grill, something nearby where you can maybe just put a card on file and order some pizzas or wings and have people just kind of come by after work someday. Again, good place to meet people where they're at, so they can just stop by on their way home or after work and see you there. And then the office grand opening is something we've done a couple times for newer agents in our PC class. So our building's been there for like ever. We've been there for like almost 10 years now, but we've done grand openings a few times because despite the fact that the building's there and Keller Williams has been there, most agents haven't. They've come to the market center either as a new agent or come from another brokerage. And so we'll put together like a grand opening, and because if someone's new, then like they deserve to have a grand opening just like any other big business. And it's a great chance for them to invite their whole database, even especially if it's small, because if someone's brand new, their database is maybe less than 100 people. They don't have everybody's email. They don't have everybody's phone numbers yet. It gives them an excuse to like start to collect that stuff, sending Facebook messages and saying like, hey, I'm having a grand opening. I want to send you an invitation. What's your email? What's your phone number? And they know that they're not going to be salesed into buying a house at the actual office. It's not like it's not like an open house where it's like, hey, buy this house. Like they're happy to come and support their friend. For pickups and drop-offs, this is another cornerstone of our business. Shred events, electronics recycling. We've got one of those coming up in a couple weeks, where we work with a junk removal company who will actually take in everybody's old broken cell phones or other stuff that doesn't work anymore. I think they charge $25 for tube TVs, but I just cover it that way. Nobody has to, because it'll cost that much money to drop it off at the county dump too. So I'll do that out of pocket. Usually only 2 people bring one, if that. But then you get to have people kind of drive through, and they obviously any of your clients that have moved, they probably found stuff that doesn't work anymore. They bought a new TV, they got rid of the old one, an old laptop, whatever, and then and we get to have this kind of like, again, like kind of like a civic responsible thing to do. Pie and pizza pickup. This is I know a lot of people do things like around Pi Day, which is March 16th, 316, or around Thanksgiving. In this case, this picture is the Pinosaur. So it's a dinosaur with a apron. Who's our in the fiction of our world, the Pinosaur has baked all the pies. So we do a bulk order from Costco and get a couple hundred pies. We of course send out notifications asking people like, do you want a pie? Do you want apple or pumpkin? Apple's like 3 times as much as pumpkin, so I'm always like crossing my finger that more people want pumpkin. Uh, but apple's vegan, so that's good for me too. So I like the apple pie personally. So I'm not going to deny people. And so we do that like the week before Thanksgiving, and again, we probably have like 60 people show up for that. Another one, we collaborate with other people in the audience, in the office. So I have a table there with like my team's logo on there. However, there's another table right next to us who has their team's logo. So people get out of their cars, they come to pick up their pie, and they just go towards their agent. Again, it's not necessarily a lead generating thing, but I do get to see people that I haven't seen in a year, 2 years, 3 years. And they get to just say hello, and you get to get some updates on them. The pizza pickup is kind of the same vibe. I get a take and bake pizza from a local Papa Murphy's franchise. Again, put in a big order. I work with I'm actually have to figure this out because I have a friend who works at who worked at a local liquor store where I could get like a pretty good deal on craft beers or sodas, and would put a bulk order there, and I would just invite people to come pick up a pizza and a 6-pack on their way home from work. Again, just put the table out, and I do that the first home game or first Thursday night game of the NFL season. We're in Wisconsin, a lot of Packers fans here, so I'll do that like the first Packer game that's not on a Sunday. So it's usually a Thursday or a Monday night game. We'll do that. Say, hey, you want to focus on the game. The season's just starting. Here's a pizza and some drinks to get you started. And that's always a big hit as well. The important thing with putting out any kind of food for give outs is that you are going to have people who don't show up. People forget, something happens, whatever. So be prepared for what to do with all of that extra food. With pizzas, not that hard. I usually just take anything that doesn't get picked up, I will throw in the fridge of the office, and we'll probably bake it the next day. We have a little full pizza oven, so that stuff will get taken care of. Or I take it home and my kids eat pizza for the next 2-3 days. They don't complain. With pies, it's usually a lot harder for us to actually get rid of. Like if we have, I'm trying to think of like sometimes it's around 10% for a fallout rate. So if you've got 1,000 pies, you've got over 100 pies left over. Yeah, and again, I can take an extra one, but I can't take 100 extra ones. So we work with the police station, and we have them pick it up, and so all the officers, because we always have leftovers. I don't even, it's like, and it's not like I just have to go like, okay, we have to save 10, 15, 20 for all the officers on duty that night. We always have extras, so it's I never have to worry about that. And so a police car comes over at the end of our event, picks up everything, and they just distribute to all the officers and first responders in our area, and that works out really well too. And so that kind of dovetails in with the community events and outreach. So you can have a food drive. The food drive can be a more of an asynchronous event. You might have a bin or at your market center that's out for like 2 weeks or something like that. And so you can just contact all of your people about like, hey, we're doing a food drive to benefit this food bank, or for Thanksgiving or Easter or whatever holiday, it doesn't matter. The need for food is constant and ever present from any food bank in your area. So sometimes you don't need excuses, and it may actually be better to do a food drive at a time that's not a holiday, because you're not going to be competing with other churches or other or other people doing similar events at the same time. So you could do your food bank and say, hey, between the 1st of May and the 12th of May, just drop off any non-perishable goods, put them in here. Or if you want to make a donation, we'll have envelopes at the counter. So if they come in at office hours, and they can like drop off a check, or they can make a Venmo or whatever. And then you, at the end of that whole thing, you can say, hey, based on this food drive, you make a great big social post. Thank you to all my clients who stepped up and helped. After this food drive, we were able to donate X number of cans or Y number of dollars to this food bank to help people. Blood drive is going to be, there's probably a blood bank somewhere in your area that does donations. That's another one that's super easy for us to do. All we had to do is provide the space. I thought I was going to be on the hook for buying like orange juice and chocolate chip cookies for all the people after they donate blood. Didn't even have to do that. They have all that stuff. Your mileage may vary on that, but that was super easy. And quite frankly, I think we only have like 7 or 8 people who sign up for the actual blood drive and do the donations. But it's a great call to make, because again, you're doing something nice for the community, and say like, hey, we're doing a blood drive. If you're healthy and happy and you can donate, we'd love to see you come. Oh, go ahead.
We're just kind of laughing again. You're pretty funny sometimes.
That's good to know. Honestly, I'm playing the improv tonight, and so if I'm starting the move, starting funny tonight, or starting now, then I'll be in good shape for later tonight.
We're your warm-up act.
Yeah, basically. So, and then the toy clothes donations, again, toys and clothes, that stuff tends to be more towards the holidays. But the earlier you can do a clothes drive, the better. Especially, it's like some people are doing that in like November, December. Again, you're busy with the holidays and stuff like that. Well, I'm in a colder Midwestern state. It starts getting cold in October. It's not uncommon for us to have snow, before Halloween. It's not like a foot of snow or something like that, but we'll get some flurries. We'll have some cold days. So if we're doing a clothes drive, or for coats or hats or things like that, it's, you're better off doing it at before the season even starts. So do that in September. Do that in even August. When all the winter coats start going on sale at Costco's and Kohl's and stuff like that. So you buy a new winter coat, you put your old one in the bin to donate. And so all of these things are great things to call your clients about. And that's also the way I think about it, is like, look at your database, how many people are going to show up? Well, some of those things are super easy and don't require a lot of thought around how many people are going to show up. If only 2 people donate food to your food drive, you can still call it a success. And they're not showing up at the same time. They don't know how many people were there. Even my pizza pickups and pie pickups, I'm there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours distributing. Hardly anybody comes at the same time. So, maybe 2-3 people come at the same time, but it's like, if I have 50 people picking up, I don't have a line of 50 people out the door. It's more just like, I just have, one person comes, and 5 minutes later, another person comes, and so on and so forth. So I do still have time to talk. So if you're doing some kind of event like that, then it doesn't matter how many people I send that email to. If I'm doing a movie theater, well, there's only so many seats, and I have to be cognizant of how much space we have or how much space we need to fill. So you kind of determine your cost per person for that, and that's what we're kind of. So I would lean towards especially if you haven't done an event before, do some of those charity types things like the food drives and raising things, because your cost is going to be extremely low on those, if not zero, versus renting a movie theater, because I'm probably spending $20 per head, if not more, for a ticket, drink, popcorn, and all the stuff that goes with it. Now this picture is from 2021, I think. That was the year that Ghostbusters Afterlife came out. It's the first I'm again big dork here. So I really love Ghostbusters. I met these guys who had a car, who are not far from Milwaukee, and they dress up like the Ghostbusters. So we put the car out in front of the theater, had our clients come through, take pictures of the car. They came and watched the movie with us. We had posters to give away and stuff like that. I probably still have like 10 posters in my in my basement somewhere. And again, like, it was something to do a give people a very unique experience beyond what they normally get from a movie going experience. That said, don't overdo it. Like in this case, I was very excited about this, and I already knew who the guys who had the car were, because I'd met them at another event a year or so prior, and so I was willing to do that because it was like something I was very fascinated with, and I wanted to do it. It was an excuse for me. I also went. If anybody's familiar with the website Cameo, you can pay a celebrity, usually somewhere in the B or C list, to do a video to send a message to people. So I got Ernie Hudson, aka Winston Zeddemore from the original Ghostbusters, to do an intro for us that we played in the theater ahead of time, thanking everyone for coming, and please enjoy the movie, and name checked us all. And that was like $500, which is a lot of money, but also like it was still less than the theater itself. And I get to keep that video forever, obviously. So it was a cool thing to do. That said, there was another event we did. I'm trying to think. I'm maybe conflating a couple things here. Those one we did were I think it was Frozen 2. We did a movie theater event for Frozen 2, and we had so many RSVPs. I went ahead and got 2 theaters. Huge mistake, because so many people were in this theater. So many people, like, I was so hard for me to like see everybody. I should have, like, I guess if I really wanted to like not turn any people away, I probably should have done like a 10 o'clock show and a 1 o'clock show or something like that. But Frozen 2 was also a huge movie, and I was worried about like turning anybody away. And of course, there was a lot of people willing to come because, again, it was like, fall Disney movie. A lot of people were interested in coming to that. It was logistically too much work for me, even with a team, even with my wife, who's also an agent, my kids there, and even working with all that it was way too much. We didn't just do popcorn and drinks. We had food afterwards, like a buffet. People don't expect that stuff. They're all they're expecting is the movie. Another thing is the sponsors. So check with RESPA. Make sure you're not like taking money from people. It's not like there's no I try to, when I get my lenders or other people to sponsor events, more often than not, I will tell the event organizer at the theater or wherever that, like, hey, this guy's going to be calling you to make the payment. Like, he's going to pay 500, I'm going to pay 500, and that's our 1,000 or wherever it is. And that way the money never touches my bank account. I don't have to worry about that kind of like being accused of anything for reciprocity. But I mean, you've got your list of people that you probably work with regularly: a lender, an attorney, someone in title, inspections, insurance. Depending on your area, you may have like a landscaper you work with a lot, a roofer you work with a lot, some kind of contractor. Have that short list of contractors and professionals that you refer to anyway, but also because you're probably providing a couple pieces of business to them every year, they're also going to be happy to help you out with these events. Because especially with a lender, there's the lender that most frequently sponsors our events is the one we refer almost all of our business to. So it's an event for him as well. So because like half the people who show up are his clients too. So it's all he loves doing it. And again, just look for those people who are going to be supportive of your business. And I would take those people who are going to be supportive over the people who are going to hem and haw and take a long time to think about before giving you some money. But also set expectations for your sponsors. not their event, and it's not even your event. It's for the people. So again, going back to that Frozen 2, we had a home inspector sponsor, and the home inspector wanted as part of his spiel, like, part of his donation, he wanted to be able to talk to everybody. So imagine a room with, like, 120 kids ready to watch a Disney movie, and a home inspector comes out and say, "Hi everybody, I just want to remind you, if you want to get your mold inspections and termite inspection, like, forget about it." Like that, it's like the wrong audience, it's a powerful lesson to learn. um if they want to have a flyer that can just give to all the parents, that's one thing, but, like, do not make kids wait for a Disney movie by hearing a spiel from a home inspector. It's bad enough when you have the trailers that run for 20 minutes before movies. Also, something I tell the theater not to do when we have our movie events: cut right to the movie. Like, we don't have the we don't run 20 minutes of trailers. As much as I want to see another Spider-Man movie, I don't need to see the preview again and again and again. So make sure it's very fun for the people, and you're not having the sponsors or other stuff you're doing around this detract from the experience. So again, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. And so phase one, I generally think of as 2 to 6 months out. You're scheduling the date, inviting your team or sponsors, start courting that stuff. So, like, typically my team does this in the fall. We will fill out our calendar for the full year. So the event we just did a couple weeks ago was for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. We knew we were doing Super Mario Galaxy back in October. We knew that like, okay, this is the movie we're gonna pick this year, and we reach out to the theater, say, it's supposed to come out in April. We want to have the first or second weekend for our clients to show up. We typically do that at like 10 a.m. So we get a break on the tickets because we're doing it like kind of like the first show. We're not taking up a 7 p.m. show. But even especially for something that's not a movie theater, not some kind of big thing like that, you still want to have like a date. That way you don't accidentally have a vacation scheduled, or somebody that's somebody that's on your team that, like, suddenly can't make it or didn't know or whatever. So we do all that stuff like way in advance. Make sure that all that stuff's on the calendar, and plus it makes it a lot easier to court your sponsors because you've got a plan in place. About anywhere from 2 months to 30 days before the event, we start sending out emails. We've done Google Forms, we've done Eventbrite. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for those, but send out something where people can RSVP and get some kind of like receipt for the registration. That way, they have the reminder for them too. And when you're sending out that first email, I wrote call and text to remind them. You call and text to remind them to, like, check their email, because sometimes it goes to spam. Sometimes they don't realize it, especially since if they're not in a transaction with you right now, they may not be used to, like, looking for an email from you like every single day, because it's like, I'm not sending them houses anymore. I'm not asking for someone to sign something. It may have been a while since I sent them an important email. So I send a call and text reminder. Hey, we're excited. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is coming out in April. We've got seats available for this showing. Bring your kids. We're gonna have a blast. It's gonna be really fun. We'll include the soda and popcorn, and all you have to do is show up. And anybody who's got kids or is enjoys a fun family movie is going to show up and have a great time. And then you kind of keep an eye on the RSVPs as you go through. There's one family that who shall remain nameless, always registers, very rarely shows up, always a no-show. So I kind of like have an asterisk next to them going like, I'm gonna count them, but also not count them. If I accidentally overbook, then I'm not gonna worry about it. And with a movie event, because I have limited seating, I'm sending out the email first to people who are kind of like in my close circle, people who have referred business with me, people who have done business with me in the last year first, people who are going to, um, you know, they're in that, like I identify them as like, an A+ client or a best friend or something like that. And then I will send out more invitations, expanding that over time, depending on how many seats we have left. So I can usually still fill the theater. Like I had to sit front row for Super Mario Galaxy because I'm the last person to sit down. And so, like this, watching the whole movie, which wasn't bad. I still had a good time. But it's but also like I had to kind of explode the RSVP list every other week just to say, like, okay, I'm going to invite those most important people first, and expand that circle a little bit, and then I think the last week I just started sending it out to people like open house leads, like people who I don't really have a relationship with, but if there's a chance that they might come and I might be able to help build that relationship, great. Again, for things like the recyclings and the blood drives, toy drives, things like that, those things you probably want to send out to just literally everybody you have, within reason. And I guess I don't have a tab in here or slide that mentioned this, but a lot of this requires a lot of database work first on the front end. So before you think about starting to send out everybody, like start thinking about categories in your database. If your command or whatever you're using is not up to stuff, you're going to find out in a hurry. So start organizing your database and knowing like who's an A+ client, who lives in the area, who didn't move away. Like if you want to keep those, like if someone moved to Texas and they're no longer in your area, you probably still have their email, still have their phone number, maybe even have their new address. But like if you're sending them an invite to a movie, they're not going to show up. There's no value in them for them. So I always tag those people who are out of area so that I just don't send them the invite. And then if I have like an online thing, I'll send an invite to them for those, or if they're a snowbird, like if they're coming here for the summer, I'll invite them to things in the summer, but not things in the winter. So to get really specific about your database and who you're inviting on for any of these events, and then that week of, again, you try to fill the theater, try to fill the event, remind people you're still going to get no shows, but it's not because something you did. That's the worst feeling in the world when you have when you have like kind of people show up and you think to yourself like, oh, did I do everything I possibly could? And if that answer is no, then like again, it's a lesson learned. But also the first time you do an event, or even not like the first time you do an event, but like any kind of event, you're going to get fewer responses than you will year 2, year 3, year 4. It's that consistency. People get used to having you reach out to them. People get used to you inviting them to things. So there's definitely some families who come to every single movie event we've done, because we tend to do family movies. And they look forward to it, and they're conditioned to it, to accepting that invite. And especially with like a kids movie, movie tickets are not cheap. That if they've got 3 kids, they're looking at maybe $150 to pay for tickets and drinks and popcorn for everybody. So let's get them in for free. It's a great time. So when you're executing the event, this is really a hard thing to do in the it's hard thing to practice for, because there's always going to be things that pop up that you're not ready for. Have your RSVPs printed. Don't just put them on a have a laptop or an iPad or something like that. Think you're going to check everybody off. Odds are your Wi-Fi is not going to work, or you forgot to log in, or something like that. Just print it the day of or the day before, with everybody, and then you just have a pen or a highlighter there ready to cross people off as you come in. I start seating people usually about a half hour before the event starts, and so some people will come right away, and especially if things like for like pickups like pies and whatever else. If they don't show up right away, then I need to just maybe need to send them a reminder. Hey, I've still got your pie here. Are you going to be able to make it before 3:00 or however long we're going to be there? And sometimes I get a no, and that's okay, because at least I've got an answer. They can't make it anymore, so I know what to do next. And when people are showing up, you want to personally thank them for coming. I know this is tough to understand for a lot of people who are introverts, and you can still be a very successful agent as an introvert. Like some events like this are ideal for introverts, because it's people coming up to you. You don't have to start the conversation with them, and you only have to talk to them for like a minute. They're not here to see you. They're here to go to the movie. They're here to see the show. They're here to drop off this thing or pick up this thing. So you just got to say hello. They associate you with whatever they're about to experience or enjoy, and that's it. Thank you for coming. You don't have to talk to them for 50 minutes. You can still engage in conversation. I'd be ready to have a couple market stats, in your back pocket, maybe not literally, but okay, yeah, there's X number of homes on market right now, or things are slow but still strong, things are fast, or whatever, to have some kind of information if someone asks. But make most of the conversation about them. So when I have somebody who's in front of me that's in some suburb that's a little further away, I'll say, hey, it's good to see you. I haven't been out there in a little while, and I'm glad you're able to make it. And then they may ask us, how the market is. It's like, well, I haven't been out to your place in a while, but I was out there last week for a showing, and this property went under contract really quickly, etc. So you make that conversation with them. Also, I'm lucky enough that I've never been a solo agent. My wife was in the business before I started, and so I've always had a partner in crime, so to speak, from day one. And as we've progressed on, we've hired other agents, hired admins and transaction coordinators, people to help out, people to help out with stuff. So solo agents, do not be afraid to team up with other agents. You probably have a buddy you're sitting next to right now in that room that you say, okay, I can, if we have a movie theater, we have, I can bring 50, you can bring 50, or whatever. And you can just do that together, especially if, again, for a first event, it might be a little easier to combine groups together. Or alternately, you do one week and they do another week, or you do the fall event and they do a spring event, and you just kind of help that person out. That way you get that little bit of leverage, without necessarily having to combine your databases and team up, etc. You can team up for just this one thing. Group of agents in my market center, I want to say it was 6 or 7 of them, pooled together and did a drive-in movie. Great idea. And then since it's a drive-in movie, they just walked around. It was an old movie. It's like Back to the Future or something like that. And so they didn't have to worry too much about watching the movie. And they just walked around and talked to everybody while the movie was running. Clever idea. So just make sure that you have kind of an understanding if you need help, and also those lender sponsors, if they're willing to come and help you check in people or whatever, attorneys, whoever you're getting to help out with stuff, depending on what your relationship is with them, that also might be, some leverage you could use at the event. It's kind of hard to do it like all on your own as a solo person. You want to have at least like one or two other people there to help. Because especially like you want to have somebody checking people in, but then like if you're checking someone in and then you have a 1 minute conversation with you, that's how you get like the line 50 deep, because it's going to take you 50 minutes to check in everybody at the movie. And like people, you don't have 50 minutes to come in, but you can talk to people as they come through while someone else is checking in. And the real reason you do all this stuff is the follow-up. You call, text, email everyone to thank them for coming, and you call, text, email to everyone who didn't come and say you're sorry that you missed them. And again, just it's another excuse to do this. I should have calculated all this stuff, but I'm touching anywhere from like 4 to 5 times before the event, and touching at the event and after. And so if you're doing like any kind of touch plan, that's like 6 or 7 touches per event. You do 3 or 4 events per year. Well, gosh, you do that with your neighborhood nurtures emails, and maybe like 1 or 2 calls for birthdays or whatever, and you've got your whole 36 touch just done. Like you have been in front of them. So I try to schedule out these events so that like as soon as one is done, I know when my next one is. I know when my next event is coming, and hopefully it's not too far away, where I can tell people to, hey, save the date. This is the next thing we're doing. I look forward to seeing you there. I also, of course, try to diversify the type of stuff that we offer, because family friendly stuff does fill the room a lot easier. When you think about if you're offering the Super Mario Galaxy movie, every single RSVP is for 4 or 5 seats. It's all families. So it doesn't take long to fill up a 100-person theater. But you've also got a lot of people who either can't come or that's not their bag. And that's okay. So think about, the people who didn't come to that, like, are they more interested in a happy hour? And make sure that when you call, text, email them, say, hey, I'm sorry I didn't see you in the movie. Will you come to the happy hour we've got next month? And then you might get some more buy-in there, or at least a thanks for inviting, but I can't make it. I recall one time we got a referral from a previous client who they did like the email intro, emailed us and also their friend, and they said something like I've never been able to make it, but they throw the best events, and I always looks like such a good time. And I realized that, like, oh, even if they're not coming, they're still aware of me doing it. They still know that I'm doing it, and they appreciate and know that I'm taking care of everybody in the best way I can. Sometimes I wonder, would plumbers have more business if they held events for all their clients, or nobody else is doing stuff like this, but we do. So I think it just makes a lot of sense for us. So you may not get direct business leading up to the event or referrals from these calls, but it does happen, because again, this is the way we stay in contact with our database. And when you train people to open every single email because they might get something for free out of it, they're more likely to open up that one that has their home value on it, or more likely to answer the phone that one day when you do have a call, and where you say, like, hey, I know you've been in your house for 5 years and you love it. However, I've got a buyer right now who's looking for a house that matches your description. Were you thinking about moving? And because you've been taking care of them and had a relationship with them for all this time, like, they're going to answer that call, and whether they're thinking about moving or not, you're just still reminding them that you're in business and you're here to help them. And then just my last piece of advice is to be weird and be you. So I fully embrace who I am, and like all the goofy stuff I do, and because that ultimately endears me to my clients in a way that the average professional does not. And if you are the wear a suit to the to your showings and dress up and look a certain way, the selling sunset type, you're still going to get a lot of business, and I have nothing but respect for you. But like I've just decided that I am the geek realtor a couple years ago, and I've just been leaning fully into it. So my clients have no hesitation to tell me that they need a finished basement to put the Dungeons and Dragons table. They need a finished basement to put up their train set or whatever. And I show up at this event called the Midwest Gaming Classic every year. It's actually running this weekend. It's one of the largest video game conventions in the country. It's all like old video games. And so I show up, I play music for like about an hour on the main stage while people are playing arcade games. And I also send that invite out to many of my clients because a lot of them also play video games. Because when we're talking about, you're doing showings, you shoot the breeze with these people, and you end up talking about what your interests are. So I know exactly which guys are going to show up to this, or which families need to come to check this out and come play old arcade games with me. So I'm extremely authentic. I can still look like that professional guy on the right. I can still play that role. And when I go into luxury listings, et cetera, I'm still doing that. But I'm never far apart from the guy on the left. I'm still that guy all the time. So I would just say, like, that's how you're really going to figure out how your whole event strategy works, is by what's authentic to you, and how do you want to show up for your clients, and what's going to be the most interesting for you. And it may not work really well the first couple times you do it. But once you get rolling, if your passion for that event is something that they see, then they're going to, your clients are going to lock in on that, or you're going to find more clients who do lock in on it. You're going to change your audience a little bit to that. So again, I'm very purposeful about branding myself as the geek realtor. Our team's called the Level Up Real Estate Group, and so we kind of have like a real video game theme for a lot of our stuff, and that seems to work super well for a lot of our audience. It doesn't alienate other people. I've still got like a $1 million listing on a golf course right now that's going through a home inspection as we speak. So hopefully that goes that goes well. But for some of my younger clients, or people who are even just my age, who've been playing Nintendo or Sega or Sony their whole lives, this is something great that really ingratiates themselves to me. Or if they, I had a client like maybe 2-3 years ago who had a bunch of Star Wars tattoos on her arm, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Do you know this tattoo artist or whatever? And they did the Star Wars tattoo for a friend of mine. And you find these other interesting ways to relate to people that are far beyond what real estate is. It's maybe a problem, but also I think it's my biggest strength, is that, like, I don't really care about houses that much. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I design whatever. It's like it's all stuff to me. It's like, oh, how many bedrooms do you need? 4? Okay. What are you doing with the 4? And when they start saying, like, okay, this one's going to be my son's room, this one's going to be my daughter's room, this one's going to be my office. Okay, what's your job? And then, like, I get into the whys very much. I don't care what paint they're going to color it. I don't care about flipping their stuff. I don't really work with investors. So but I get very into the people that I work with, and the best way to kind of get to know people is just have constant conversations with them. And the more they know, like, and trust you, the more likely you are to get those referrals. Some other things that are kind of like go without saying is, if you're on Facebook, you got to add them as friends. If you're on Instagram, you gotta follow them, follow back, whatever. And whatever social networks that you're on, be authentic, and it's going to make it a lot easier for them to to show up to your events and give you referrals if they already like know and like you. It's kind of a tangential thing, because I'm sure there's plenty of classes that are going to teach you like how to behave on social media and such like that. But I'm not trying to go viral. I'm not trying to get 100,000 people to like a video I make. I'm really just trying to make a video or a post that's going to be seen by that, like, few hundred people that are in my database, and anybody else is just like, great.
Hey, Zac, we've got to wrap up here because we've got another class coming, but a couple of questions that I thought of. Your client events are truly, it sounds like they're kind of your primary form of lead generation, but really it's like that long-term nurturing your database, your sphere that actually brings leads. Am I correct about that?
Oh yeah. And again, like the way that we do this, because we do events enough times a year and change things up, it's just an excuse to call. It makes it a lot easier if I don't have to call to say hello. I'm sure you guys talked about the DTD2 and calling your database numbers, and like if you could do that, that's fine. But like, what do you say? Not everybody wants to hear about market stats.
Yeah. So the other question I had was, so you're not necessarily, so doing these events with other agents isn't a problem for you, because really it's about nurturing your database in your sphere. And I think you had a slide that said you may or may not get a lead at that event, but it's the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up and following up with them. And it's just another way to remind them that you are a licensed realtor and you can help them with their needs or anybody else that they know. Am I correct about that? It's not necessarily, so right. Sharing an event with another agent, it's not like you're necessarily going to get a bunch of leads at that event that you then have to split up. They're inviting their base. You might get a couple of random people that show up because they saw your Eventbrite or something, but for the most part, am I correct about that?
Correct. Yeah, and the like depending on the Eventbrite, like so for instance, the electronic recycling, I'm like inviting like everybody in the market center is inviting people to that, and the way I'm showing up is I'm going to volunteer that day, so I'm going to be there at the office to like help people lift stuff and throw it into the truck. So I'm going to see a bunch of people who are my clients. I'm going to see a bunch of people that are not my clients too, and I'm still going to be helping them on those days. So I again look at it, it's like the rising tide raises all ships. You help people out, like that's going to come back to you. And
it's
it also
not just the clients, it's building relationship with those other agents in your office, because that can, I know personally, I see, because I'm the assistant team leader here in the office, so I see the closings that come back and forth, and there's a lot of agent to agent referrals just within our office because of the area that we cover. And we have agents that might live in North Dayton and they might have a lead down in Lebanon, which is way south of Dayton, so they pass it on to another agent here in the office and they get a referral fee. But you can't do that without building the relationship through the events that you show up for.
Also, and I also look at a long term as well. I mean, there's some people who are kind of on the same level as me, but also at some point they may not be in the business anymore. Something's going to change. Agent friend of mine like moved out of state, and now because we did a bunch of events with her and kind of partnered up on things and was buddies, I'm like, I basically took her database for her read the book The Golden Handoff to see all that stuff. But like but now like all those people are coming to our events, and we're still representing that other agent who work with them, but we're going to reap the rewards from doing that. So as agents drop out or retire or whatever, it's another reason to stay in touch with everybody and make buddies with everybody.
Relationship. Are you on the social medias? Are you Zac Shipley on like Facebook and Instagram?
Oh yeah. If I put a lot of effort into SEOing my name years ago. So yes,
we can find you all over.
So if you search for Zac Shipley, I'm probably the the thing on there. Yeah, you're gonna find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc. And then if you want to see me live, I'll be at the Improv tonight, the Midwest Gaming Classic this weekend, and Mix and Rewind on May 1st.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
All right, and I'll also be at Mega Agent Camp this
This August.
August. Yes. So anybody who wants to come there, like, I'll send you the slides and everything. So like, tell everyone, send me a message if they're going to come. I'd love to meet you.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Zach. Take
Thank you,
care.
everyone.
Bye.